I've owned this Model 3 for 5 months as my daily driver, and in that time I've covered 7,500 miles. As a mechanic with 17 years experience, I'm going to show you how easy it is to check basic warranty items on this car. These warranty items saved me over £3,000. Now, my cars are late 2021, so its warranty expired in November 2025. Tesla cover the warranty of these cars for 4 years or 50,000 miles. This is the basic car warranty. They obviously cover the battery for a longer period than this, at 8 years or 100,000 miles for my particular car. I'm also going to share with you screenshots of exactly what I requested on the service request. I'll also talk over each common fault and each common repair item so you can check it too. It's that easy. You don't even have to pay a third party to inspect it for you. You can do it yourself. Now, most of these common faults are just cosmetic. The first one being the steering wheel. You touch it every day, you see it every day, every time you get in the car. So have a good inspection of it. Make sure it's not wrinkled. If it is wrinkled in any way and your car is covered under the warranty, the 50,000 mile warranty, Tesla will replace this. The steering wheel costs about £600 just to replace it. They replace the outer part of it, they don't replace the inner part of it, so the horn. I got mine done pretty soon after getting the car because it's very obvious the common fault on this, and then after that you can inspect each one then. Before we get on to the next common problem, did you know 93% of people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to the channel? It would really help me out if you could like the video and also subscribe to the channel for plenty more content to come. Now, the next one's really easy as well, but you require all the doors open. So this is focused around the secondary door seal. So this stops water coming into the cabin. And it mostly fails at the very bottom. So if you look at it here, it looks fine. But if you go right to the bottom and you get right on your hands and knees, you might see it sagging. And if it sags, they will replace it. But it's not only that. If it does start sagging, you will get ingress into the cabin, so into the actual sills. This can obviously cause damage. You don't want water coming into your car all the time. So this is a very easy repair for Tesla to do. And if your car is out of warranty, you can repair it yourself. You just get another seal with a good bonded glue. Now, this is obviously the most difficult thing to check, especially if you don't have a jack. A jack like I've got under here costs about £35, so it's really not that expensive to buy. And once you have the jack, you've got it. You can change the wheels and you can even rotate them if you really wanted to, as long as you had axle stands as well. Now, there's a few things on the forums what I don't particularly agree with. The fact that some people have been getting an inspection, an end of warranty inspection for £99. I just don't see how this is viable to actually do. Now, I know some people have probably got this and have probably had success about getting this because the faults were very, very obvious. So the actual fault on the rear suspension or fault on the front suspension was very obvious and could probably be diagnosed very quickly. But I think Tesla are quite generous in covering any suspension component under warranty. Now, a suspension component is a wear and tear item in its nature, but due to the rear design of the suspension on the Tesla Model 3 and also the Y as well, it's a whole rear knuckle. And if this rear knuckle does fail, then it can basically compromise the safety of the entire rear of the vehicle. So I think this is why they cover it, and I'm not too sure on that, but I think that's probably why, just because of the sheer size and nature of the rear knuckle. Now, it's very easy to check. Get the jack under the vehicle, get a little rubber pad just under the jacking point. You can buy the rubber pads for next to nothing, like £3 or £4. Chock the front wheels, jack the vehicle up. Now, you want the vehicle just above the ground, so you can just basically get like a sort of hand under there. Obviously, don't put your hand under it because if the vehicle does fall, it'll crush your hand. You don't necessarily need any axle stands either because we're not taking the wheel off. If we were taking the wheel off, you definitely need axle stands. Now, the rear knuckle on this vehicle has been replaced under warranty, and it's a very big ticket item, so you want to get it right. But basically, side-to-side movement is the knuckle. That way is normally the bearing, but it can also be the knuckle as well because the knuckle has got joints top, front and back, so there's a tri kind of like ball joint setup. So all you need to do is just give it a right good wriggle, and there's just zero movement in there. Now, just because there's no movement in yours doesn't necessarily mean there's not any play in the rear knuckle. And this is what I'm saying about the £99 inspection. I don't find it realistic because Tesla have actually got on their website, on their sort of Haynes manual for this Model 3 and also the Model Y, the tolerances of the suspension. Now, what you have to do and what the technician has to do for Tesla, obviously you have to get the car into the workshop first, jack the car up, take the wheels off, and then they basically get a dial test indicator, DTI, put it onto the front, get a pry bar, and also give it a wriggle. They'll note the actual movement and tolerance of the front bush. They'll then get the DTI, put it onto the back side of the knuckle, and then get the pry bar on the front, and also give it a wriggle there. And they basically add them two together, and that gives them the tolerance of acceptable criteria. Now, I do honestly find this very generous. And just because I didn't get any play in my rear suspension when I did this test, didn't necessarily mean there was not something wrong with the rear knuckle anyway. I did hear a little bit of creaks and moans, especially when it went over sort of like an uneven camber. And I noticed it not being as tight in the rear as like you would expect. Not a sporty vehicle, but a semi-sporty vehicle, shall we say, to handle. So I kind of took a chance here. So I requested it through Tesla app, and I said, I want the front suspension inspected, the control arms inspected, and I also want the rear knuckle inspected for the tolerance. And they came back with something like 300 something pounds. I think it's like 370 pounds for all the work. Now, this is more a realistic figure to inspect the front and rear suspension, because don't forget, the technician has got to get it in, get the wheels off, get the DTI out, and then pray bar it, and then add the tolerances together, and then decide if it's acceptable or not. Now, my tolerances were not acceptable in the rear, but I would not have got this if I'd just done my actual wriggle test. And this is what I'm saying. I was willing to take a chance in spending 360 odd pounds to make sure the tolerances were perfect into Tesla to their standard. And it so happened they were. So in a way, I did get lucky, but you know, I didn't really see it like that. So because the technician had picked up it was out of spec, they replaced the entire rear suspension, left and right, for basically nothing, because it was under warranty, the basic vehicle warranty. So you want to do the same test at the front as well, side to side, control arm, up and down, probably the bearing, but also can be some form of bush as well. If you really want, you can get a big bar, stick it under there, and give it a wriggle, and just give it a good wriggle around as well. This is my jack bar, but you can get a pry bar as well if you really want to. Now, this one here goes down to the actual panel gaps of the vehicle. So you can obviously check all the panel gaps, and if you're really unsatisfied, then you can request some sort of like rectification of the panel gaps. It may not be the easiest thing for them to do on some of like the doors, and especially around here and things like that. But I identified pretty early that this boot had a panel gap on the left-hand side of it. So that's the near side boot. Had a panel gap here, and I was going to live with it because it wasn't actually bothering me and it wasn't too bad. But this panel gap here is quite important, and it's a really telltale sign of future problems what this car may have. So pre-2020 cars did not have a power tailgate. Tesla then put a power tailgate, and it's like a retrofit. So when they retrofitted, they only put one power tailgate strut in. And this causes a lot of uneven stress and a lot of uneven load on this particular side. So as the car wears, you know, this car, when I bought it at 38,000 miles, it's now got 45.5. But in that time, the boot was open and closed probably quite a lot. You know, I wouldn't even hazard a guess how many times it was open and closed. This obviously caused stress and strain over time, and this bent the actual strut and bent the bracket as well. So my advice would be, if your car is in warranty and you have a panel gap specifically here, get a request in, get it done. It's not even an expensive repair. It's like an hour's labour and about £49 for the strut. So it's not even that bad, but it just opens and closes so much easier and so much better now. It was kind of creaking and groaning before. It wasn't really happy. And I think it probably would have failed at some point in the next, say, 20,000 miles. Now, if your car is out of warranty, this is an easy DIY thing. You can just pop off the strut and put a new one on. It's not that difficult. But if the car's in warranty, get it in and get it looked at. Now, my vehicle didn't actually have this common fault, but it's worth checking because it's just so easy to do and it's so obvious. So if there's any condensation inside the rear light cluster on both sides, it needs replacing. Get it in and get it looked at. But I think this is more of a common problem on earlier Model 3s, what probably are out of warranty now anyway. So a very obvious one here. Just click the actual camera logo and then see your cameras if they're all working. Obviously, click your indicators as well and then see if the cameras are working as well. If the cameras aren't working, get it in and get it looked at. Now, back into the interior of the car. Now, EVs do tend to have a lot more squeaks and rattles than internal combustion engines. If you can live with these, then that's fine. If you can't live with them, then obviously get it looked at. But the thing with EVs is they don't have an internal combustion engine, so they don't vibrate as much. They don't have a gearbox, so they also don't vibrate as much. And there's just a lot less moving parts in an EV, so you're always going to get more road noise and more rattles and more noticeable things inside the cabin. I don't have any squeaks and rattles, what I can't live with inside here. There was a little bit of a squeak and rattle on the actual passenger and driver's seatbelt holder, but I found if you put it up one, it basically eliminates the rattle, and I can live with my seatbelt a little bit higher than I would normally have it. If you've had any of these common problems what have been fixed by Tesla, drop them in the comments below and let me know. But if you've had any other common problems what have been diagnosed with Tesla and also been repaired, drop them in the comments below to help other people out as well, because this is only my experience of this particular vehicle. There may be more common problems that I haven't encountered with my Model 3, what you have with yours. So don't forget to subscribe along to the channel, and I'll see you for the next one.